take the risk.
Your whole thing is like the playbook inside the rooms.
I had information, and I had information that they didn't have.
How much money do you make a year?
Power and money. What more do you want? I said, I'm gonna go on TikTok. And my son was like, Mom, please don't go on.
In the interview process, how important is swag? Should you flirt with your boss to get ahead?
So I'll say my secret weapon, the reason why I was so successful on Wall Street.
That's insider freaking tea, everybody. Should you flirt with your boss to get ahead? Would you think this is like a really good outfit for a corporate setting? What is a job? Today on the show, we're mixing it up a little bit. We've got Deepali. Deepali's known as the elite recruiter. She is one of the most followed career experts on the internet, and we are not that. She's spent 25 years in the world's top boardrooms, advised Fortune 500 CEOs, and she's this generation's #1 voice in career advice. So me being someone who has never had a career, really, I think this is gonna be a perfect conversation. Thanks and enjoy. Okay, sweetie.
Okay, sweetie. Okay, sweetie.
Okay, sweetie.
Okay, sweetie.
The Okay Sweetie show. Do you self-identify as a New Yorker?
I can't, technically I can't because my husband was born and raised in the Bronx.
So he's like, you can never. He's like, you need at least 20 years.
He still
under your
calls
belt.
me immigrant. So it's like, whatever. So
It's so funny.
I am the immigrant.
Obviously, you have a ton of like knowledge to share with the class. But we also want to know about you as a person.
Okay.
So can you basically just tell me what you just told me?
I'm an immigrant. I came here when I was 2 years old from India. My parents had a motel business, so I was running the motel at 12.
That's so sick that your parents came here from India and just started a motel business.
Yeah.
Like so American dream of them.
Oh, super. We definitely, they've lived it and I'm living it.
Yeah.
Really.
I love that. That stuff
Yeah.
makes me really excited.
Yeah.
Like we had Susie Weiss-Fishman, who's the founder of OPI. She has a freaking amazing immigrant story.
It's amazing. Yeah. And like, my parents came here and they were college graduates in India. But during that time, late 70s, early 80s, and I just dated myself, as you guys can tell. I'm older.
Do you get Botox? You don't have a single wrinkle.
0. No.
Wow.
But thank you.
Yeah.
And so, they were college graduates, but the language barrier,
Right.
So they worked in factories when they came here because there was really not a lot of options unless you were an engineer or a doctor.
So is that racist?
I would say it was just it was the times. When Ronald Reagan opened up the floodgates for more, immigration, a lot of the licensed professions started coming here. So we actually called it the brain drain from India.
Huh.
That's why you have a lot of doctors.
That's the stereotypical like Indian family.
Well, because the visas were based on these academic, pursuits. A lot of small towns didn't have a lot of doctors.
Yeah.
So a lot of us, I was in Shreveport, Louisiana. How the hell were we even going to think about Shreveport, Louisiana? But my dad's friend, who was a doctor, there was an opening for him in Shreveport, Louisiana. So when we came here and my parents weren't liking Michigan and it was too cold and all of that.
So cold.
Super cold.
Like
January, my mom and I landed in January of 1981, something like that. And I can't remember now, but she had a sari on. And it was the middle of January in Michigan with 12 feet of snow. It was insane. And so
it's like -30.
And I had never seen snow, right?
Yeah.
And I was in India living my best life at 2 or 3 years old. And I'm like, what is this?
Whoa.
Yeah. So it was like a complete, your sensory overload of what is going on. I had no idea what was going on. Anyway, so long story short, they were working in a factory. They were pretty miserable, and it was cold. And they were like, "This sucks! Like, what are we doing
America.
here?
What are we doing here?
This is not the American dream."
Yeah.
And so my dad called up his friend in Louisiana, and he's like, "Dude, just come down here." And that's a really great thing about just like having something familial with like the immigrants.
Yes.
They all helped one another.
Yeah. I'm like kind of dating this Irish boy right now, and he is in New York from Ireland. He knows every single Irish person in New York, I swear to God.
And it's just this familiar sense of community. And at the time, everyone was having a hard time, right? And so he's like, just come down here. We'll figure it out. No job, no nothing, right? And my dad was a banker in India. So he wouldn't be able to break into the banking industry here. It was just too different at the time. And so
that's brutal. Fuck.
Yeah.
How old were they?
They were in their early 30s.
Wow.
Imagine going
so hard.
Imagine going to a different country. It's like us moving to China right now. And not speaking the language and starting from scratch.
Yeah, I literally moved from like middle of the country to the East Coast where I grew up, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm starting over. Like I'm 29, I'm almost 30. Like how am I going to do this? But
exactly, yeah, and like their family was in India.
Yeah,
like there's no support whatsoever, and so that he came to Louisiana, no job, no nothing, and the first job that he got was in the motel business, and then another Indian person in Dallas had a bunch of properties, and he heard that my dad was doing a good job, and they're like, why don't you move your family from Louisiana to Dallas, and can you manage 13 of our properties? And so we really fell into the motel business. We weren't like, you probably have heard the term hotel, motel, Patel. Have you?
No.
Okay. So it's sort of a
so does that
stereotypical
mean
thing.
That a lot of Indian people own motels?
So Patels actually started owning a lot of small to mid-sized motels across the country. And so my dad started managing all of those properties. And at some point he was like, I think I want to do it on my own.
So boss.
We, scrounged up everything. And I remember when we did move to Denver, because there was one property that he wanted to lease and then buy, he broke our piggy banks because he scrounged up every last cent because he needed a specific number in the bank in order to get the lease or whatever it was. And so it was complete risk, right? And that's how I grew up. Like, take the risk to the every last cent. And it really defined, me and my approach.
When that becomes normalized for you, then it feels safer, even though like it's not actually
like
safer.
My husband would never take that risk.
Wait, why did he name the motel?
So he didn't change the name because he wanted people to think that it was like, glitzier than us, right? And so it was called the Chalet Motel.
So chic.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
And you
in
started,
Denver.
You started,
You
started working at 13?
Yeah.
How was that? I started working at like 12 or 11. I was
Well, I didn't have a choice.
Bar.
I didn't have a choice, right? I didn't grow up like the American family with the white picket fence and the home and all of that. I grew up in the motel. So our house was attached to the motel. See, my friends thought it was cool. I was super embarrassed by it. Because the reason why my friends thought it was cool is because, when you're in middle school and high school, we had a pool.
It feels like a vacation. It's literally Sweet Life of Zach and Cody. Like, that's where my brain went.
So we had a pool. We had all that. So it was the spot. I was deeply embarrassed by it.
Why?
Because I was like, I live in a motel and my friends live the all-American white picket fence life. I don't have a normal home to go to. When I come home, I'm working, And so like even my whole life today, right? I'm constantly working. My business bleeds into my, day life and my family life and all of that. And it's a lot. But I came home from school, did my homework on the motel desk while renting rooms to customers.
Wow. Was that like bothersome to you at the time? Or like, we're like, Mom and Dad, no one else has to work at this age. Like, I don't want to. Or was it just like?
I think I didn't have a choice. I didn't know that I had a choice.
That's good. Honestly, that's good.
And it was just by default.
Thank God there was no social media too.
Oh my God, yeah.
Oh my God, that'd be terrible. So did you feel embarrassed of like that living in the motel, or did that bleed into being embarrassed of your family and yourself?
No, I was never embarrassed of my family. It was just like we didn't have in what I call traditional work, right? My parents' friends
Which makes so much sense for where you are now.
Right? So my friends had parents that were doctors, lawyers, engineers, real estate brokers, whatever white collar profession. We were not that, right? And so it was just different.
So then you went to school in Boulder. You majored in
finance and marketing.
And what was your idea? Like, you were like, maybe I'll go into finance.
So here's the thing about my parents. Wait,
is finance and marketing a double major? Mm-hmm. That's crazy.
And I minored in English, which
girl.
was just only so. And that my dad was not very happy with me, at the time. But when the one thing about my parents was they never forced me to think about the motel business as my future.
That's good.
Which spoke volumes about them, about how progressive they were. Mm-hmm. They were like, look, we don't know anything about corporate America, but we want you to do it. We're going to support you. So they were like my silent supporters. They never detracted me from like all of these things. Like I found my own, engineering camp stuff to like put on my college application. I landed my first internship at S&P in my last year of high school. My parents had no idea what the heck I was up to at all.
Why were
'Cause
you
they
so
didn't know.
ambitious?
Because I felt like, A, I didn't want to be in the motel business.
Yeah.
And B, I was like, I know I'm meant for bigger things and I want to be the best at everything.
Awesome.
And so like I ran for senior class president and I beat out the popular girl. And like I was doing these series of things that was boosting my confidence. And the thing is, while I was embarrassed sort of internally about the motel stuff, I never expressed it out loud because I didn't want anybody to see that I had any cracks in my armor.
Yeah.
And so I just felt like I had to show confidence.
You like proved it in other ways.
Correct.
So that you could just
Yeah.
cover up the motel stuff.
Yeah.
So it was like kind of coming from an unhealthy place, but like
Yeah, I would say,
it was like a healthy outcome to like, I don't even know if
Correct.
I
I
would say
think
it's
it was-
unhealthy. It's just like,
I think it was a motivation.
yeah.
I think I was motivated to do something different.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I had this internal motivation. But the thing is, you know, there was the embarrassing part of it, but then there was also this part of like, damn, my dad made it,
Yeah.
you know?
He can do it. So
So
if he can
I
do
was
that,
really
I can probably
proud.
do anything.
I was very proud of the motel business post-college.
I think that's also like everyone is at that age is gonna like find some ways to be just embarrassed about existing.
Of course.
you
It's
know,
like
and,
you're embarrassed of your parents, you're embarrassed of whatever. So it's
Yeah.
like, this was my one embarrassment as a teenager.
right. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Okay, so then you are essentially a triple major, and then you like graduate, and you're like, New York City, here I
well,
come.
no. So what happened was I ended up going to the London School of Economics
Oh my God.
because my parents were like, maybe you should
Wait,
pursue
and
a master's.
at this point, you have your eye on corporate. Like, what was
Yeah.
it about corporate America that drew you in?
For some weird reason, because I was a finance major, and by the way, I chose my college major on a whim. Nobody gave me, again, like I told you, my parents were never in corporate, so I never had any real advice, which is what I'm doing today matters so much
Oh,
to
wow,
me.
cool.
Because nobody gave me that advice.
Yeah.
Nobody gave me a roadmap, a blueprint, nothing, right? My aunt called my dad and she's like, you know, Deepali's going to college, you know, maybe she should think about finance. It's kind of hot right now. That statement alone is the reason why I chose finance. Is that the most ridiculous thing you've ever heard?
You're like, great. Finance.
I'm like, great.
But it's that's like such a good thing to get into because there is going to be money. Like that's
course.
financial literacy is so important.
Well, I was
it.
all about following the dollar. I grew up in a business, so I knew about money.
Mm-hmm.
I knew about the system. I knew about banking. I was counting dollar bills since I could remember. Like my dad would have piles of cash everywhere and my sister would have to count it out. We'd have to write the checks. We'd have to, you know, order supplies. We'd have to go to the bank and fill out the deposit forms. I knew all of that at 13. I don't think a lot of people my age knew it then.
Mm-hmm.
So finance was pretty natural to me when I got to college. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do finance. And then the biggest thing was like, I was super fascinated with Wall Street. I
Wow.
was like,
Because of Wolf of Wall Street or like,
all of it.
did it seem
All of
glamorous
it
or did
seemed
it
very
seem
glamorous.
Yeah.
It seemed very glamorous. It's like power and money. Oh, what more do you want?
Right. But it's ran by men. So I feel like that actually takes a
Totally.
specific woman to be able to be like,
Totally.
like how can I
Totally. And the thing is, like at that time, I never even, all of that stuff happened to me. But at the time when I was so enamored by it, I never thought it was a man's world. I don't know why I didn't think about it that way. I was like, what? They can do it. I can do it.
Awesome. Yeah.
That was it. So I was getting like this master's international finance degree at London School of Economics for my master's. Midway through, I was like, you know what? I don't think I should do this. And my parents were freaking out. They're like, we sent you to London. What the hell? What? And they're like, you have to finish your master's. I'm like, I don't think so. And I had
Wait,
already.
that's tea.
Yeah. So I had already interviewed in Denver for a job, but I just said, hey, can I delay it? I want to go to London and pursue this thing. And they're like, And so when I changed my mind, I came back and I had this offer that I had like 6 months on the dot. Like they could have rescinded it, but I made it. So I came back and I started at Lucent Technologies in Denver. And that was a royal disaster. Royal disaster. Because I had no idea what I was doing. I was in school for so long and I came back and I was like, I'm going to be this like finance whiz kid and whatever. And I get this job at Lucent in like basically management consulting, right? And so they put you through this like 3-week training, like onboarding training. And I'm looking around and nobody looks like me.
Right.
And I'm like,
Is it just all white dudes?
I didn't, that, because I was in Denver. And
yeah. They're all wearing vests and they're like Patagonia.
Yeah. And they were all like, I don't know, a little bit more technical than I was. I was like finance, marketing, and English. Like, you know.
So it was a creative.
It was a little different. And so when I went through this like 3-week training, I didn't really pay attention because I was like, well, what is this? This is not for me. Like I'm meant for other things.
You're
Like I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know what was going through my brain.
That's just like young, like arrogance, which is kind of charming.
Yeah. So I'm sitting there and then they assigned me to a client. And I'm like, oh my God, I got to do all the stuff that you guys were teaching me for this. This is a disaster. And they paired me with this like older white gentleman who was lovely.
His name was Clyde.
Absolutely boring. And I'm like, oh my God, I do not want to be like this ever at any day. And so there was already some friction. They assigned me to a client in Anchorage, Alaska. And I was like, the gall on me then. I'm like, I'm not going to Anchorage. Absolutely not. And another client in Austin. I fly to Austin with this dude, my boss.
Clyde. We're calling him Clyde.
Yeah. He's on the plane and he's doing all this stuff. And I'm just like, oh, dude, what are you doing? Like, what exactly is going to happen
like spreadsheet.
Right. And presentations and all this stuff. And we get off the plane and he's like, okay, so are you ready? In my mind, I'm like, ready for what? Like, what? I'm just carrying the bag. Like, I'm just carrying the bag. And they're like, all your training. And I'm like, I wasn't paying, in my mind, I'm like, I wasn't paying attention to any of that. And so whatever, we get into the conference room. And of course, like, I'm smart enough to like, my bullshit meter is like so high where I'm just like yesing them to death and saying, yeah, we can do all this stuff. And I'm like taking notes and like basically treating it like a school project.
Well, you're probably good at that too from being in the motel business where you're dealing with all different types of people.
So I'm glad you brought that up because I think the one superpower that I do have is earning trust, because those years of seeing all walks of life come through the door, I had a lot of emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
Like I could tell when someone was in a bad mood or someone didn't have the money or they needed the discount or they, I could, overcharge them because I knew they, like I could get away with it. Like I could read people.
So earning trust in that sense means like you can read people, see what they need and like deliver it and then
Correct.
get them and then form a relationship.
Correct. And that was my saving grace.
Yeah, that's like sales. It's like the whole thing.
Yeah.
But to do it in a genuine way, I think is the hardest thing.
Correct.
And like to make it not transactional.
And I'll say I was a very good listener. Very good listener from the beginning. Like and even though I talk a lot now, in meetings I listen a lot more than I talk. And when I do talk, people listen. And so that was like the striking sort of balance. Anyway, so I had that job and I hated it for 6 months. And then I did a very cowardly thing. Again, something that people don't teach you, how to resign. My boss, she was lovely, but like super boring as well. And I'm like, I cannot be in this function. So I resigned like a coward.
Like what? What do you mean?
When she was out to lunch, I wrote up my resignation letter, put it on her seat, and bounced.
Wow. And what would you recommend someone to do properly?
Have a conversation.
Not do that.
Yeah, not that.
Like proper 2 weeks, have a conversation, like keep it on a good
lesson.
That's hilarious. That's a good lesson.
It was, when I was 22.
Yeah.
These are not things that are taught in college.
Yeah.
These are not things that people say, hey, here's your career playbook.
Well, that's not what people did until you.
Correct. So.
Hello.
So, exactly. That day I resigned, I went back home and I told my dad, I'm like, hey, I quit my job. And he was like, okay. So my mom started crying, typical. And my dad was like, first question, what do you want to do? And I was like, I think I want to move to New York. And
Wall Street on the brain.
Yeah. That was the only thing that was on my mind. I was still like, fascinated by it. And so he was like, okay, let's pack your bags. Like not in a mean way. He was like so.
He was encouraging. He believed in you. You could do anything.
Just so empowering. Like didn't question it at all. Like my daughter wants to do this. She's motivated to do it. I know she's smart. She'll figure it out. My mom's like crying, sobbing, like, how can you move to New York? And this is right before 9/11.
Oh, wow.
So I moved here in 2000.
Good thing you moved before. I don't think your mom would have let you after.
Absolutely. She called me right, like when 9/11 happened, she's like, okay, it's time to move back. It's time. And I was having up until that time and even beyond, the best time.
So when you get here, you like are working on Wall Street, and you mentioned again like not feeling like you belonged in those rooms.
Yeah.
But how do you then?
So I'll fast forward. So I got a lot of interviews in the same realm of management consulting, and I was like, I know I don't want to do that.
Which is important. A lot of people don't even know what they don't want.
Exactly. And so I had recruiters like talking to me, and they're like, maybe you should try recruiting. And I'm like, I don't know what that is. Like, what are you is that a real profession? And I'm like, stop talking to me about that. Like, I was literally pushing them off. And they're like, no. Like, the way that you're explaining your story about like you talking to a lot of people, meeting everybody, motel
Emotional
life,
intelligence.
all of it. They're like, we think you can be good at it, but you should recruit for Wall Street. And I was like, oh, best of both worlds.
Yeah.
Let's give it a go. I had nothing to lose.
Wait, that would be hilarious. Like, I would be like, all right, where's like the tallest guy wearing like the stuffiest outfit that looks like kind of a dick?
What was the TikTok last year? Trust fund, blue eyes.
I'm looking for a man in finance.
Finance, exactly.
Emily's looking for a man in finance constantly. 6'5", blue eyes. Trust fund.
That was my everyday.
Do you just see them on the street? You're like, listen, I'm a recruiter. Let's go. You're going to be perfect for Wall Street.
Exactly. So I had a lot of gall back then too, because I just knew what I wanted. I knew the confidence that I had. And so the company that hired me was like, they had an office in Connecticut and they had an office on Wall Street. And they wanted to hire me for their Connecticut office. I don't know what got into me. I didn't even know if I had the job or not. I'm like, listen,
It's not going to work.
I want to work on Wall Street. And they were like, I'm like, listen, I'm not taking this job unless you put me in the Wall Street office. And they were like, okay, and I told the owner of the firm. I don't know what. The thing is, like, when you're young, and I want to tell young people this, like, when you're young, be bold.
Yeah. Why only when you're young?
The thing is, you start thinking in trade-offs once you get more senior in your career, because you might have a family. You might not, say these bold, daring, risky things because the trade-off might be too costly, right? Let's say you're a mid-level manager and you're like, you know what? I want this promotion, but I don't want to move to Chicago.
Yeah. So saying what you want's always been pretty natural for you, which I don't think is actually very natural for women in general.
I think so. I think what I did do a good job early on was observe people. And when I was recruiting in Wall Street, on Wall Street, for Wall Street firms, I was seeing where the power was. And I was seeing like who got treated how, and, who was getting preferential treatment, or how should I be dressing from a power position? And all of those things mattered, right?
Yeah.
If I was the schlub, you think a Wall Street trader was going to take the job I was pitching them?
And so like, what did you observe? Like, who were the people in charge? What were they like?
There was what I observed was there was the official org chart, and then there's the unofficial org chart. And what I mean by that is the unofficial org chart were when you're in these rooms and sort of the leader is going on and on about stuff. And then you're seeing who are they deferring their questions to? That person is the unofficial whisperer to that person, because they're constantly deferring their questions to them. So in the room, right, when they're making decisions or they're, doing things, you're now observing who are they leaning on? Who do I have to get close to? Who's the CEO whisperer?
And are there traits that are shared amongst those CEO whisperers?
I would say that they are very tight-lipped, meaning like they don't let a lot of leakage, right? I don't know if they're like truly sort of deferential. They push back. The leadership respects people that push back in a constructive way. If you're going to be yes people, they're going to not respect you for it. They're going to know you're a yes person, but they don't respect you for that. They respect the people that are a little bit more constructive and offering a different opinion.
It's like the way you say things.
Correct.
Like, okay, but as a woman, how does that work for you? Because like, how has your experience been as a woman?
So I'll say my secret weapon, the reason why I was so successful on Wall Street, and I think you and I were going to talk about this a little bit, where I found sort of my power and my trust because I had information, and I had information that they didn't have. I knew who was moving where on Wall Street. Those guys would call me into the office. I didn't look like them, but I had so much more information than them. I knew where things were moving. So they're like, shit, We
That
need
sounds
her.
fun.
It was so much fun. It's still so much fun. It's still so much fun. I started as an intern at S&P. 25 years later, I was doing the CEO succession planning for S&P.
And like, I want to talk about kind of all aspects of that because your kind of whole thing is like the playbook inside the rooms, which you're talking about. But like, how did you start to learn slowly? Like, how did you change what you were wearing? How did you change how you, like, your body language and the way you speak?
So, okay, it evolved over time, but I was enamored by the glamour of Wall Street and fashion and New York and the fast pace and all of that. So like, once you know your environment and the environment that you're in, I've given a lot of like even early days podcasts, I would always say like, be polished for the environments that you're playing in. There was some, opposite advice. And when you think about like, New York is so different than Silicon Valley. When I go to the Valley, I'm hoodied up and all of that.
Because
like,
you got to just like fit in, like kind of nonchalant.
I play to my environment, right? If I'm wearing a suit and someone's sitting across from me in a hoodie, there's also this intimidation like, oh, she doesn't get us.
Yeah.
Or she wants it her way. So you're sending all these signals even with how you're dressing, right? So there's a little bit of conformity. But New York is fashion capital of the world. It's fast paced. It's all of this stuff. So I was learning really fast. I mean, I always loved it. And I always used to joke with my husband, like anytime InStyle magazine came out, I already had the stuff that was featured in the magazine. I was like,
So you're just on it.
I was just... even my email, which I shouldn't say out loud, but anyway, it was in the trend setting, way. But I was always looking around corners. I don't know how. It was just intuition. And I was, again, pattern recognition. Like, where was the puck going? Where is this information going? And I think like when you think about finance and you think about the markets, right? The markets are only reacting or ahead of where things already are, right? So when you're investing in companies, you're thinking future potential. You're not thinking about where they've been.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, irrelevant.
Right?
Yeah.
When Jeff Bezos, someone came on the elevator with Jeff Bezos and they were saying, hey, Jeff, great earnings call. We had a great quarter. And he said to that person, I'm not thinking about this quarter because I'm already...
he's like, I'm living in 2042, bitch.
Right, exactly. I'm already 2 years ahead.
Yeah.
And that person was like, oh my God, like I can't live in the now. I need to live in the future.
That's the thing. Does that stress you out though? Like what kind of effect does that have on your own personal life?
Yeah.
Like, do you feel behind?
Here's the thing. The reason why I don't feel behind is because I'm in this profession of information. I'm also in this profession of curating all of this stuff. So I feel ahead, even in this world of AI, right? I'm already in the rooms where these decisions are being made. That's only going to trickle down to the rest of the organization in a couple of years. Mm-hmm. So I'm already in those rooms.
Inherently ahead. Do you feel at peace in your personal life?
Totally.
Wow. So you're like kind of like nailing it.
So I'm in a very happy place. I'm 47 and I'm having the most fun I've ever had in my entire life.
That's so good to hear.
And this is my second arc of my career.
You went and started your own thing. Like you like kind of felt like you realized the playbook, you had it figured out and you're like, I'm going to now leave and help people. Like
a couple of years ago, partly because of my son and partly because there was some terrible advice that I saw on TikTok. And it stopped me dead in my tracks. And I said,
what was it?
I will not name that creator. They have quite a following, but they were giving some terrible resume advice. And my son happened to have it on his TikTok, which he shouldn't have had TikTok at the time, but I wasn't, I was like, all right, I'm going to let it slide. But she basically gave some horrific resume advice of like, put everything on your resume, you're dog walking, I was like, whoa, time out, and she had all these followers and I was asking my son, I'm like, do you guys listen to this stuff? And he's like, oh, I get a lot of information and that scared me. My level of people don't talk out loud. We live in secret. When I'm doing a CEO search, yes,
type shit.
We live in secret. And we didn't do it on purpose. It's just our profession. We have to be very discreet. If I'm doing a CEO search, we did the Uber CEO search. And at the time, we could not tell anybody about it. Those are things that are happening in rooms that cannot leak. Mm-hmm. And so anyway, fast forward, I see this advice and I'm like, this is terrible. And so I said, I'm going to go on TikTok. And my son was like, Mom, please don't go on TikTok. And I'm like, well, because you said that, I'm definitely going on TikTok. And so I just started telling everybody information that I, as an executive recruiter, know as sort of table stakes. It just started snowballing and I started decoding the game. I started decoding, what was in the papers. It's usually my people that are in the papers. So I'm like, let me tell you what this really means. Let me tell you what these layoffs mean. Let me tell you what coffee badging means. Let me tell you why you shouldn't do it. This is what leadership thinks when you are coffee badging into your seat. I'm going to tell you why remote is going to work for you or why hybrid. And so when I started talking about all this stuff, because I know what they're saying.
Yeah. It's good to know, like, I think there's so many people on the internet that just go on there and like say shit, but like you actually have the chops and that's why your content is more meaningful. Do you think that the job market is, I think there's a lot of hopelessness that like the job market is worse than it's ever been.
The thing is, it's not true in the data. And I get to see the data every day, right? I am busier than ever. I'm working on more searches than ever. I mean, clearly, yes, I know it's at a higher level. I'm also talking in the rooms to leaders saying, what are we doing about the young talent? How are we pipelining them? How are we going to build this middle layer of, grooming people from the bottom to the top on management and leadership skills and all of this? And I'm also lucky being able to guide young people. What I'll say right now is for young people, don't think that the job market is dire. There's a lot of small businesses. There's a lot of startups. There's a lot of like logos that you don't know where you can land some really amazing jobs. And then I would also say, with the power of AI, the era of a company of one is happening, which means you, Jules, can have an AI agent working for you and you can be a social media strategist to many companies, not one, and you can have yourself a cute little business, a six-figure business, right?
So it's just kind of rethinking the model. Like it's just changing and
The
people are
model is
scared of that
breaking,
and that's why they're saying.
and we are reformulating it in real time. And so I did that. And then from there I started, I was reacting to my audience. They're like, do you coach? And I'm a certified executive coach, but I wasn't doing that as part of my day job because I was recruiting, executives. But I started reacting to it. And so I started building this business. And so lo and behold, now I have a media company that has 10 people. And I blinked and I was like, oh my God, here we are.
So boss.
I'm doing all the things I want to do. I'm giving back in a way with all my content. I'm trying to teach the next generation or even my current generation. I'm like, there's so many women and men at 45 and 50 that are like, I want to start a portfolio career. I'm like, do it. This is how you do it.
It's so, the starting over thing, like I really don't, I know people talk about it a lot, but like feeling it is really, really hard. Like I'm obviously I'm almost 30. I'm having that like 30-year-old crisis, like middle quarter age crisis, whatever you call it. And like actually being in it is really hard. It's really hard to not feel behind.
It is. But you're not behind though, right? Like if you think about your generation.
It's like behind to fucking who? And also like shut up. That's what I say to myself.
Yeah. So the things that I think about, and I'm not like super woo-woo-y when it comes to like manifestation and things like that.
I wanted to ask.
Okay. So, but I will say this. Some parts of that are really true. I actually found the piece of paper when my parents were moving. I made the move from Colorado to New York just to be, closer to the family and all of that. So when we were getting rid of my sort of childhood house, there was a paper that I'd written my goals on. And it said, I want to make six figures before I'm 30. Check. I wanted to buy a BMW before I was 25. Check. Like all these things I had written down. And it was
like
check,
material
check,
things.
Material things. And the thing is like, I'm not.
Every single one.
Every single one was checked. Every single one. By the way, like I must have stared at that paper for a very long time before I moved to New York. So it was already mentally etched in my brain, which is why I'm kind of getting to the manifestation part of it. Of like when you have a goal and you have a plan and you're kind of full steam ahead, it's etched in your brain that you're working towards those goals. There's a Harvard business study that came out a long time ago where they're like, people who write down their goals achieve more of those goals than people that just dream about their goals.
Like, yes, people are always like manifesting mixed with action, but like manifesting or action, neither of those things necessarily mean opportunity. So to me, that's where the magic of it all comes in. But you don't believe in that?
So I think you make your magic, right? Okay, so for example, what's a goal of yours?
I want to do the 6 figures before I'm 30. I've got like 8 months or something, which is going to be light work.
Okay.
To be the biggest podcast in the world, maybe like the 4th biggest in the world.
Why are you aiming so low?
The biggest. I don't know. I just feel like a lot of pressure. Like the biggest. It's like, relax, Joe Rogan. Like
pressure you're giving to yourself, right?
So
like,
are we talking small goals or big goals? I got a ton.
Big hairy goals.
I want to have like a yellow Bronco. I want to have a family and a husband who's obsessed with me. I think maybe. I want to like be able to live at the beach, sort of, sometimes when I want to. Okay. I want to have a studio that's like gorgeous and host a lot of things. I want to like
all achievable.
Be out here hosting
all achievable.
Things.
What you're doing right now is dreaming. Great. Let's take one of those points. You want to achieve 6 figures before 30 or 31, whatever.
30.
Okay, fine. 30. You have 8 months. Write down that and then reverse engineer into that. I need this many sponsorship deals. I need this many blah, 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 right? Like I need this many consulting engagements. I need this many, people to come on the podcast. I need this many, subscriptions. I need this many followers. I need this to happen. Fine. Then work backwards once more. I'm going to make 10 phone calls to 10 brands to get these sponsorships. Boom. You've hit it.
Yeah, like dial it back until there's one actionable thing that you can do each day.
Correct.
How much money do you make a year?
7 figures. Well into.
She can move her family to New York, baby. So in terms of like dressing and to me, being a woman, a large strength of ours is like our sexuality, like that's just a part of being human, right? Like, and
I use it to my advantage.
Yeah, tell me about all of that. Tell me about your thoughts, using it to your advantage. Like,
I think I'll say femininity, being feminine versus like the over-sexualization piece of it. Being feminine and having a bit of humor, at least for me, right? Like I never thought I was like traditionally, pretty or whatever, but there was feminine aspects. I didn't look like anybody in the room, so I used that to my advantage, even from a dressing. Like, you can have style, right? Having style and class and polish goes a long way, no matter what your body type is and all of that. Like, when I step into the room, I remember I was getting on an elevator at Goldman Sachs. Every single guy had a navy blue suit, white shirt, and blue tie.
It's disgusting.
I walked in with a gray A-line dress with my red Celine bag. And nobody forgot that bag and nobody forgot my name.
Standing out a little bit is good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so I would say that being feminine, but I would say humor goes a long way. So it was like a little bit of like flirtatious femininity with humor that got me to be the personality that I am. And now, like, I'm running board searches, I'm running CEO searches right now. I get to go in the room because I've earned it. I say whatever I want. I say whatever I want in the most humorous ways. My recruiting team is like, oh my God, she's going to say something out of this world. And like, they would never say it because they would never dare.
Yeah. Does the like leaning into the kind of flirtation femininity thing ever get you in trouble? Because I'm actually transparently something that I kind of struggle with. I feel like it's easy for me to be seen as like a sexual like object, whatever. Like that's like an easy strength for me to lean on. But I don't want these old guys thinking I'm going to hook up with them.
Jules, let me ask you this. What do you want to be known for? Do you want to be known for how smart and powerful you are?
I want them to see me as capable and valuable, but I don't know how to get them to see me that way and like get their attention without leaning on like the flirtiness thing. And I know that's like a me problem, but that's why I ask people like you, where's the line? How can I do that?
Yeah. I think like there is I
don't want to bang any old dudes. Except maybe.
But okay. So let me react to that. But give them the hope that they could.
Yes.
Right? That's the fine line you're treading.
And that's okay.
That's okay.
Wait, I'm obsessed with you saying that. Thank you.
Right? It's not like you're giving mixed signals, right? You are putting yourself in a position where they see you as someone that is smart and capable. God, I wish I would have married someone like that. Or wish I would have, it's the wish and it's the hope.
Yeah, I feel like
And not the do.
It's not the do. I feel like there's something about them liking having like a young, attractive girl around too that boosts their ego. Like,
Who doesn't?
I'm like, okay, I can play that shit up for you for sure.
We are in a visual world. We are in a power world. We're in a money world. Like all of those things combined. Why do you think, glossy magazines sell with good-looking people on them, right? First of all, like we are all human. And I think that, I just read an article which is going to blow your mind. Silicon Valley bros are now going to etiquette class. Why? Because they want to come across as more polished and be taken seriously and not have the touch of the tism. And
how the tables have turned.
Right? Because guess what? VC money wants to make sure that you can host a party, that you can have a board that you can work with, that, you are beyond just the tech bro, that you have EQ for you to be bigger.
Like being charm.
Everything. But the thing is, like every professional, and I'm going to speak right here, if the CEOs have a personal brand, that means you need to have a personal brand. And so what I'm saying is that every professional owes it to themselves to have a brand. So if you have a brand, you need to own this narrative about yourself.
And would you say because you're obviously in these like extremely corporate professional rooms, how much of the banter and the relationship building comes in through the professional conversations versus the just like human to human bantering?
It's all of it.
It's all of it.
It's all of it. It's the sidebar conversations after the meeting in the hallway that are like, oh my God, did you guys hear that? Oh, we got to do it this way. Like that's the stuff. That's the game.
Yeah.
Know what board you're on.
Have you ever seen Molly's Game?
Of course.
You're giving Molly Bloom. I'm like, so much of what you say is like so Molly Bloom coded.
She was a high performer. She knew how to use all of her assets and her brain. Nobody effed with her, right? Like, again, because she had more information than anybody else. If I were to give young women out there and, someone like you, Jules, master the power of information that you have with a point of view, you'll become so much more powerful in every room you step in.
So when I hear that, though, I'm like, it's kind of heady. Like, what's the actionable?
The actionable is read everything that's in front of you. My husband sends me at least 5 to 6 articles before I even get out of bed in the morning. So the advice is like, my newsletter that I have.
Stop reading romantasy and like start reading.
Well, you need a little bit of that too. You need to be human, right? Like,
should you flirt with your boss to get ahead?
I'm pretty principled on that. My answer is definitively no. I just think that you lose an ounce of respect when you do that.
I know. I hate that we were talking about this earlier. Like the fact that it's actually not a valid point because in a workspace it's super valid. We were just talking about like the correlation of respect and sexuality and like how it shouldn't have a relationship, but in a work setting it fully does. What about like with clothes? Like, do you think my outfit would be good?
You're adorable.
You think this would be good in a corporate setting?
No. You're adorable.
You think the shorts are too short?
No,
I tried to have like high socks because my shorts are short.
And the thing is like, okay, so if you're in a creative, maybe it's fine, right? If you're going to walk on the trading floor like that, absolutely not, because you know what's going to happen.
Hyenas.
What about like Jules?
I think that there's a balance between being fashionable versus being kind of overly sexualized, right?
Versus being slutty.
So, okay, like just pick it.
It's kind of like my brand.
Right. So, okay, if you're going to wear something low cut, then wear something long. Don't double do it. I think that's sort of the general rule.
So like perfect outfit right now. The shorts are like so short. Okay, in the interview process, how important is swag?
You have to balance it. I want someone confident, but don't want somebody entitled.
Do you think Gen Z is just like super entitled? Like, what's your opinion on all of that?
The entitlement, you shouldn't I don't want them to frame it as you are not entitled to it, right? You need to earn it. But you should ask for what you want, get in the door, and keep earning it. Don't rest on your laurels.
Just ask for it once you've proven yourself type of thing.
Yeah, and I think the proven yourself is in a varying barometer, right? Like you guys don't have enough experience to quote unquote prove. But the point is get in the rooms, do the work really hard, shadow people, understand the system, all of that. You're doing that work. You should earn the dollar. But then to get promoted, you have to be doing that work instead of just saying, hey, I've been here this long, I want to get promoted. You need to be doing that other job in order to compete with everybody else
That's what Bose said. She was like, just do the job above you and you'll get promoted.
Yeah.
Like, actually, that's kind of a good point. I never really thought about it like that.
That's it.
In an AI world, how would I get my resume to stand out?
Okay, so...
Because you can't dye it pink and put perfume on it anymore. Or can you? Like Elle Woods.
I would. I think that there's a couple of different things that are going on here. One, I think there's a lot of AI slop, so all the resumes are looking pretty generic and the same.
Meaning like they're being made on ChatGPT or something?
Yeah.
And that's bad?
To a degree, yes. I think that it should be your first draft thinking and not your last judgment.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, because I recruit in AI, so I know the guys that are actually building these models in Anthropic and OpenAI, and so it is good, but it's also creating sort of this brain rot as well. So I think AI is really good to kind of just spit out everything that you want, and it can organize it in a way, and you should look at it again and say, is my resume showing all the outcomes, my greatest of all time moments, these quantifiable metrics, all these things that I've done that another recruiter or company can pick up and say, I want them to do that here. It should be so obvious, right? Like you grew your audience from 0 to X in this amount of months. Any marketing agency or whatever should say, we want her to be our social media strategist, as an example. But like ChatGPT is not going to figure that out for you. You need to feed it that information and have it organize it and saying, hey, I want to do it in time-based metrics. Everything has to be quantifiable outcomes that have impact.
Do you think that someone looking at the resume, like it's generally an AI looking through the resumes, right?
Yes and no. So I'm going to break that myth right now. So yes, there are ATS systems. Most traditional companies, aside from like the major tech companies, have a human behind it. The ATS systems have a feature called AI filter. Most companies don't pay for that feature. So the internal recruiters are actually looking at your resume.
Okay. So if they all look like ChatGPT, then a real human's going to see it and be like,
of course, I look at a resume in 6 seconds and I'm like, nope.
Yeah. Okay, that's insider freaking tea, everybody. Do you think we're all going to get our jobs taken by AI?
No. And I say that very confidently.
I saw the thing you just put on your Instagram, but if you could just paraphrase that again for our listeners.
The reason why I have a hard no, I'm going to say that in sort of the near term. What's happening right now with the layoffs and everything, the headlines are, we're replacing everybody with AI. That's not true. What's happening right now is that companies are reallocating dollars to invest in AI. That's not the same as AI replacing another human's job. We're talking about investments. Now, when I'm in the rooms with, these leaders that are like, everybody needs to be, AI native, AI fluent, AI, everything AI, we're almost sick of that word, completely. But here's what's happening. Human behavior is really hard to change. So when you asked, am I going to be replaced by AI? I'm going to say no, because that trickle-down effect takes a very long time to change.
Yeah, it's like not an issue right now.
But also, I will advise, I would encourage every single person to be AI tinkerers. Use ChatGPT, use Claude, vibe code. I'm not a technical person. I was finance, marketing, and English. I have every freaking AI tool on the planet because I recruit for it. I meet the founders, I tinker, whatever. I mess up, all of that stuff. But I am fluent. I am fluent in, I know what large language models are. I know what machine learning is, partly because I recruit for it. I assess people in it all the time. But my point is, the people that are going to get left behind is if you are pushing it away like, oh, no, I'm not going to do it, you're going to be in for quite the reality.
Like Reese Witherspoon just said. And she was like,
Correct.
especially as women, we can't be left behind.
You can't.
So we named our show Okay Sweetie because to us it represents times when you've been like underestimated or dismissed or condescended to in a room, something we can all relate to. Do you have an Okay Sweetie moment? Do I ever?
1,000 of them. I'll give you my most recent one, which really pissed me off. About 2 years ago, I was raising money for my startup. Not the business that I'm doing now. That's doing swimmingly well, but I was raising money for a startup. We ended up raising about $1.5 million, okay, which was a slog in the mud. Okay, it was so painful. I called all my Rolodex, and that startup failed. But let me tell you what my Okay Sweetie moment was. I was in front of a VC. And we were pre-seed, right? So we had no revenue, no nothing. We had an idea, we had good tech, whatever. And I'm pitching the story. And I'm like, this is what I see, and this is the vision, and all of that. Like, very founder mode. That VC started asking me questions as if I was a Series A company. That's very different questioning. And so I paused the meeting and I'm like, would you ask a man that?
What did they say?
And they were like, well, we don't understand. You're pitching for, $100,000 or a $300,000 check. And I'm like, yeah, but you're asking me questions for a Series A. If I was a man pre-seed, like Adam Newman, spinning this story, would you have asked him those questions? And they were like, well, we see your point. I'm like, yeah. I'm going to stop the presentation. We don't need your money.
Wait, you're such a fucking gangster for that? I'm obsessed with that response.
Like,
and then you got the money anyway, right?
I got the money anyway, not from them, but I was like, I don't need your money.
Yeah.
If you're going to treat me like that, you are not a partner to me.
Yeah.
Boom, done. Story is over.
Boom, done. Okay, now we have a rapid fire. We named it Sweetie for Hire. If someone needs to get a job in the next 30 days, what's the first thing they should do?
Have a great LinkedIn presence and have two things. Your resume should be 2 pages, no more, no less. And second thing, have a 1-pager of your greatest of all time moments. It's your career signal.
Can you glam it up? When you say resume 2-pager, I want hearts, stars.
It depends on the industry. I would say under normal circumstances that ATS is going to spit it out. So no.
Yeah.
Just have a text-based resume.
Yeah.
But I think if you're going to, you know what I would do actually instead, Jules? If the advice, and I my rapid fire is never rapid fire. I'm sorry.
They never are.
If I were you, I would do a video resume, or I would do a portfolio online, or a landing page that has really creative stuff that's that is epic.
Smart. And you said make a good LinkedIn. How does someone make a good LinkedIn?
Yeah, have a great headline. Tell me exactly who you are, what you do, what industry you're in. Don't be generic I'm a project manager. That tells me nothing, right? That's going to tell every recruiter that lands on it, they're going to be like, of what?
Yeah, it's giving CEO and co-founder.
Right?
CEO and
okay,
founder.
and, CEO of what?
CEO of what?
Exactly. And then in your about section on your LinkedIn is the most critical piece. And I always say this is your open love letter to recruiters and hiring managers. This is where you don't talk about a lot about your past, but it's signaling where you're going. What the hell are you good at? What's your greatest of all time moments? Where do you want to go? Because we're going to see the rest of your LinkedIn of where you've been. But that is your opportunity of signaling where you're going.
I love the greatest of all time. I'm imagining mine now with Michael Jordan in the background and 40% opacity.
Exactly.
Okay, 3 ways to appear more confident in work and in life.
Read a lot because you'll be confident about what you're talking about. Know the data. Second thing is understand your language and the nuance in how you're communicating, right? A lot of the ums and likes and ahs, and I still do that. I'm totally guilty of it, but control your language, right? And the third thing is eye contact, right? Be a good listener, but make eye contact. Make them feel seen.
3 ways to be better at networking.
I'm going to say, number 1, don't have unrealistic expectations on networking. Don't think that you're going to meet someone and that first meeting is going to land you a job or an opportunity or something. Your goal with networking is to get to the next conversation. That's it, right? The second part of networking is make a list, alums, your weak ties, people that you were in high school with and they're somewhere. They are more likely to refer you because there's familiarity, right? And so I would do that. And the third thing is your internal network. Like if you're at a company right now, and a lot of people are at sort of like larger outfits or whatever, use their, like, do internal networking before you even go outside, right? Because leverage where you are first. Get to the top of your game before you exit out of there, because then you can go to the next level.
I just want to tell you, I really appreciate the way that you like notice the nuance, like the reality of things. Like a lot of people wouldn't want to talk about dressing or flirting or like the sexuality thing, or just like you're very real about it. And I think that's probably partially why you've been so successful. So I appreciate that.
I appreciate you.
Deepali Vyas, everybody.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Jules. Great job.
So fast. I hate when they go by so fast. Okay, obsessed with her. I'm not a corporate girly, I never really will be, but I still learned a lot from her. And I'm glad that I can flirt. Sweeties, if you liked that episode, if you learned anything from it, please go ahead, just give us a little 5-star rating on Spotify, share with your friends, put on social media, just all the things that help podcasts, because if you like what we're doing here, help us help you. You know what I mean? We love you. We appreciate you. You're the prettiest, most smart, handsome boys and girls that we know. So, see you next week.